guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the terrible Captain Hook. He's not at all terrible. He's very wonderful. I love him. And so I'm going to do a detailed review of this doll. And before I do so, I thought I would talk a little bit about why I got him and some information about him. So Captain Hook was released in October of 2009, and he was part of the Peter Pan collection that was licensed from Disney. So I got Peter Pan there. That's Pull Up Peter Pan. Be sure that you check out my review that I did on Peter Pan because she's a lovely, lovely doll. Very, I mean, people who have her really love her, but I think that people who don't have her often don't appreciate her true beauty. Like, you just can't really understand it until you see her. I had seen tons of pictures and heard everybody say I love Peter Pan so much, and it wasn't until I had her in my hand that it was like, oh my gosh, everybody's right. She really is a pretty stunning doll. So check out that video. I don't have a video on Tinkerbell yet, so if you're interested in seeing a review of Tinkerbell, just let me know and I'm happy to take her down from her little, she's suspended up there on my shelf. I'm happy to take her down and review her. It is a little hard to get her down from there, so if you guys feel like you've had enough of Tinkerbell reviews, then I'm happy to just leave her there and not review her also. So it's up to you guys. If you want to see her, I'll do it. So the fourth doll that is part of the Peter Pan collection, I actually don't have. I have a fourth doll, which is Wendy. I just made her from a Merle. I didn't really make her. I didn't modify Merle at all. She has her original wig. I just redressed her and made her look like Wendy because she's beside Peter Pan. The fourth doll is Buell Tiger Lily, and I don't have her in my collection yet. She's on my list of dolls to get, but I'm not in acquisition mode right now, so I definitely plan to get her at some point, but it likely won't be anytime soon. Those are famous last words. It seems like every time I hear myself saying that, I then get that doll, because I said that not too long ago about Captain Hook. I said I might add him, but I'm in no rush to get him. Then he came up on the sample sale, and so I got him. I mean, the sample sale is always a great opportunity to pick up dolls that are on your wish list because they're new and they're usually in wonderful condition, but they have been displayed, so they might not have all their pieces, but I was banking on him having his important pieces, which to me, the most important piece was his hook and his hat. I wouldn't have been heartbroken if he didn't come with his sword, but he happened to come with all of his pieces and even his mustache, which really surprised me because I assumed that the mustache probably would have been misplaced if not put on the doll for display. So this is him, and I'm going to show him in quite a bit of detail on my overhead camera, and then I'll just do a little flip around so that you can see how he looks from the back. Look at that fantastic wig. He's so awesome. He's just so true to character. They really nailed this character. This is one of the best interpretations I have ever seen Groove do. This Captain Hook, man, that wig just totally makes him. The only thing that I don't like about Captain Hook is and I don't mind his shiny face. I'll show that in detail in the overhead camera video. But the only thing that I don't really like about him is he has a fairly blank look on his face. Like, he has this kind of like blank doll stare that I'm not sure, and so I'm thinking about getting him customized. I do really love his eyebrows. He's got this kind of like pitchfork look to his eyebrows, which I really love. I think they really make him look like a villain, which is awesome. I think I'd like him to have like a sneer, or I really love Dustin Hoffman's interpretation of Hook, and he's got all these like lines around his face and smile lines, and I would really love to see, and I know that Groove doesn't do that kind of thing, like they don't usually put that much detail in the face as far as artwork goes, but I'm thinking about having him customized, and we'll see. I'll let you know if I do that. I'm gonna do it. Anyhow, here's the overhead video that shows the close-ups of and kind of like a full review of how this doll looks, so I'll flip over to that right now. So here he is with all of the things that he comes with, and I'm gonna show him to you up close and personal so that you can see all the lovely details about this Taeyang doll. So here is his face, and the first thing that's really noticeable about Taeyang Captain Hook is that he has a really shiny complexion. And so I find that it's not quite as shiny as Naato's skin was before I had her repainted, but it is almost as shiny. It's really quite noticeably shiny. And so that is something that makes him quite a bit different than other dolls. He has a very plain face-up, which I really like on a male doll. He has these nice, fierce eyebrows that are well suited to his character. And he mostly has like a tanned shading around his, so like brown shading around his eyes and brown shading on the outside of his face here, kind of like down his cheekbones. And really it's just a darker shade of his own skin tone, and I really like that. His eyebrows are a very, very dark brown with white lines. I'll try to get it so that you can see it. And he has this really interesting eyebrow with the little line up here and then more lines down there, almost like it's kind of interrupted or jaggedy, which I think is suiting to the character. And he has very plain, and actually the only matte part on his face are his lips. So very plain and matted lips with deep crevices, like the crevices of his, like the corners of his smile or lack thereof, is painted black to give him that look of like a deep mouth. Very lovely mouth. And yeah, so that's his face up. I will show you that his eyes do move from side to side, and he has those let me just check. They're hard, they're not the rubber eye chips, but they are kind of like the design of the eye chips is a combination of painted on the surface. So we've got these little brown highlights and white catch dots, like catch lights, on his eyes that are painted on the surface. But then there's also, it's like a classic, what I would consider a classic eye chip, like it's got the texture behind the eye chip that shines through. And then a very large pupil, like a fairly large pupil. And yeah, his eye mechanism works really well. And this is how he looks when he blinks. So his eyelids have a darker shade of brown. And his eyes don't close completely, and that is the case for a lot of the Taeyangs that I have. He does have some light eyelashes, not too many. I'll close his eyes so that you can see. So not overly thick eyelashes, kind of typical for a Taeyang or a pull-up doll. And now let's just talk about this fantastic wig. This is so true to character. This is a Captain Hook wig through and through. I don't think they could have nailed Captain Hook's hair any better than they did with this wig. This wig is surprisingly soft. It has a kind of like a tight curl-ish like kink to it. It's really, really beautiful. It's in wonderful condition. This was a sample doll, so he's been on display, and his hair just looks amazing. It's really kind of like choppy and messy looking, but I think it's supposed to look like that. He's supposed to look like a messy pirate who hasn't really taken good care of himself. So he is really lovely. I like that his hair just naturally separates to show his face, very much like the character does in the Disney movie, but also in other interpretations of the Peter Pan story that I've seen. So this is his face and head, and his wig cap. You know, his wig cap doesn't really show or anything. It's a nice full wig for sure, and very soft. And I guess, you know, I wouldn't brush it or anything. I think it would probably get really frizzy really quickly if you brushed it, but it looks really nice just left alone. And I think really, you know, like if it were to get a little messy, it would only look a little bit more like his character. So that would actually be okay. So he has a regular Taeyang body, so he looks the same as all the other Taeyang dolls. He has full articulation in all of his joints. I haven't checked to see if he has any staining on his body. I wouldn't be surprised if he does because his outfit is very colorful, but I don't know. It looks like he might have a light colored shirt underneath, and so I will just have a look at that right now. So let's start by talking about his stock outfit that he comes in. So I did buy him as a sample doll, so he came like this with these pieces here in plastic bags, and I think his hat was also in a separate plastic bag. So I'm going to start by talking about the clothes that are on him, starting with on the outside, and then I'll move inwards from there. So he comes with this really beautiful coat that I think is perfectly suited for his character. It is a kind of like a satiny type of finish with these squares all over it, a little cut in the back and flared out to look very piratey and fancy. There's some piping along the edges. It's really nicely cut, fitted through the top and then flared out through the bottom. It has this really nice gold corded piping along the edge, along some of the seams, and then this piece of gold fabric just on the, I guess this would be kind of like part of the lapel. And then he does have this collar that is tacked in place with thread so that it doesn't move around too much, and it's almost like a microfiber. It's extremely soft, and the cuffs of his jacket are also in that same microfiber burgundy color, and he's of course has these beautiful ruffles from his shirt underneath. I'm pretty sure they're from his shirt underneath. I'll double check that before we're finished this review. And just look, I think you might have already seen a little catch of it. Just get a look at, and his coat does close with a hook and eye, and it does have the eye. A lot of times I find pull-up clothing has the hook and then just a little loop of thread as the eye, and I really like it when they have a complete hook and eye. But get a load at the lining of this coat. Isn't it just fantastic? I just love the unexpected color, and he is just so colorful and beautiful. He has these short pants that come to just below his knee, and this beautiful red belt that looks like it is separate. Yeah, it's separate from the pants. And I'm going to take off his coat so that you can see exactly how he looks. Oh my goodness, look at his shirt. It's pink. So there's how the coat looks off of him. It's beautifully made. I find pull-up clothes are often really well made. I'm usually pleased with the quality. Sometimes the fabric is not the greatest, but this seems to be pretty good quality fabric. And just look at him, he's so awesome. He has this ruffle on the top of his shirt, and it's a pink shirt with a white collar, and it's kind of a almost like a nylon material. It's not cotton, or it doesn't feel like cotton anyways. It has slight ruffle at the tops, and of course, or puffy, like gathered at the shoulder, and then of course the lace ruffle at the cuff is really important so that it sticks out at the end of his cuffs and looks very piratey. Now his shirt closes in the back with Velcro, as does his belt. And if we take off his belt, we can have a look at it. It's a red satin, I guess it's probably called a sash instead of a belt, and it just has this loop of red fabric over top of it. Really nice. And then he has these, as I mentioned, these shorts that go to just below his knee. They have this really nice little cuff and little pink bows on either side, and then he's wearing white satin socks that go right up to where the pants end. Very pretty. Love it. Love this little ruffle. It's the same like nylon-ish type of material as the shirt, but it's white with a white ruffle. Oh, he's so awesome. Oh, I love him. So I'm going to put him back together again, and then I'll pick up this review. So one tip that I have for dressing and undressing a Taeyang is if his hands come out easily, just pull out his hand. This one, this hand came out pretty easily, and this one did not, and I really don't want to risk breaking it. So if you pull it like just pull it so that you're holding onto the ball here. If this pops off of the ball, you can put it back on. That has happened to me before, but just try to pull it like this. I don't like to remove the hand from the ball because I'm always afraid that it won't go back on. Like I run the risk of it just not going back on as well, so I feel more comfortable pulling the hands out this way. So if it comes out easily, just go ahead and pull it out. He's a lot easier to dress that way. My Captain Hook here is not, his second hand is not coming out as easily, so rather than push it, I have two different solutions for you for just making it easy to dress a Taeyang, especially with long sleeves if you want to dress him in a coat. So my first solution is to remove the hand if you can, and then take a rubber band, like a little elastic. I just have one of these little clear ones from the dollar store here, and I have a package of those that I just keep right with my doll supplies. And I just kind of wrap it around and around, almost like I'm making a ponytail out of his little ruffle cuff. So that's going to hold his cuff on the other side of his hand. See how even when I kind of tug on it, it's not going to come up? Because that's the problem with dressing these dolls, is that as you put his hand in, the cuffs go up, and then you have to kind of reach, and sometimes you can use tweezers to pull them down, but I just find that this is a whole lot easier. And then after he's in his coat, you can easily like fix this up and tuck it in better and that sort of thing. So if you can't or don't want to remove his hands, there is another solution. And I'm still going to put the rubber band around his cuff, just to add a little bit of friction here. But my other solution is, because this, sometimes his little fingers and stuff get caught in the threads. Now this particular coat doesn't have any threads inside of the hole, so I could probably just slip his hand in really nicely and easily without having to do this. But I thought I would show you this since I'm showing you the other tip. This is the other tip that I sometimes use. I just get a bit of tape. I use washi tape because I have lots of it on hand, but you don't have to use washi tape. The nice thing about washi tape though is that it is low tack, so it's easy to come off when you're finished doing this. And I just basically use washi tape to encase all the little details of his hands, so all of his little fingers and stuff, so that they don't get caught on threads. And you can use that for pull-up dolls, for Barbie dolls, for Monster High, for anything that has like stretched out hands. If their hands don't come off easily, you can just cover them up like that. And so now when I put his coat on him, which I always just kind of bend his hands backwards to do that, I'm just going to feed his little cuff through that hole, and then feed his tape encapsulated hand through that hole. Okay, so now I'll show you all of the accessories that he comes with. He actually comes with a lot. So first and most importantly, he has his Captain Hook hat, which is a beautiful hat that is not exactly the same color of burgundy. It has a bit more of a purple hue to it, but it's a beautiful hat. It has gold cording around it and a white feather, and he looks quite Captain Hookish with it on. As you can see, I'll show it on a different angle after I'm finished this review. But the hat is pretty well made. It's, you know, it's decent. It's not lined very nicely. A lot of times the pull-up and Taeyang hats are nicely lined. This one is not so much, but you don't see that, so it doesn't really matter. The parts that you see certainly do look nice. He also comes with his sword. It's a plastic sword. It has a gold handle and whatever this part here is, and then a silver blade. It does have the Disney copyright information on it. His hand will not actually hold the sword, but I would put a glue dot on to make him hold the sword. He also has the hook And this is a rubber. It's very similar to, like, it's not going to break or anything. It's a big, thick piece of rubber. And it's very similar to the material that various pull-up and Taeyang shoes are made out of. And it's silver with a red kind of thing on it, like a red, I don't know what you would call that, but and then he comes with these, I'm just going to take that off because it's just going to keep falling. And then he comes with these Captain Hook-like shoes. They're rubber and they're a shiny black with a gold buckle. They have Disney on the bottom. So this is his leather sheath for his sword. So his sword fits into this sheath quite nicely, and then it fits across his chest like this. And you know what? This would go even better if it ran through here, I bet. It would probably sit nicely if you ran it through this little spot here. Yeah, that works better. It fits perfectly there, so I'm guessing that might be what it's made for. So there we go. Oh, this is how it goes, yeah. So it goes kind of like at an angle like this, so that his sword falls nicely. It actually doesn't grip very well to the Velcro that's there, but there you go. And then last but not least, he comes with these little mustache pieces, and these are so cute. They are little pleather mustache pieces. It's so funny. So they go on his face like this. Let me see if I can get them to work. And you get lots of them so that if you lose one, you've got some little replacement ones on hand. I really appreciate that. I don't know, I'd have to look at some reference photos just to make sure that this is on properly. But there he is. Ah, look at him. He looks so Captain Hookish. There we go. And so I'm going to hang on to these extra ones. There's basically, you get enough to do 3 of these mustaches. If you lose some, never fear, you've got some replacement pieces. I'm just going to stick them back into their bag so I don't lose them. So there he is. And that's how he looks up close with the mustache on. And there's a close-up of him with his hook on and his sword. I like his shading. He is a little bit more tan than other Taeyang dolls. I'm just going to go grab another doll just to show you. So this is Milo, who is my Taeyang Wayne, and as you can see, his skin tone is quite a bit more pale. Most Taeyangs have this very, very pale skin tone. So I think that Captain Hook is a really wonderful addition to your collection. Things to consider when you're buying him are the fact that he does have a shiny skin tone. He does have that kind of blank stare look, but I really do like the fact that he doesn't have a whole lot of makeup, and he has a couple of eyelashes, but not really detailed, intricate eyeliner or anything like that. So I think he makes a really nice masculine doll. He looks beautiful redressed and rewigged. In fact, I've seen some owner pictures of him that are just absolutely gorgeous. He makes a really nice contemporary male doll if you redress him. So I think he's a great doll, but what do you guys think? If you have him, if you love him, please leave me a comment. Let me know if he's on your wish list, what you've done with him. Have you redressed him, left him in stock? I'm going to be leaving mine in stock because he's going in my Peter Pan display, which I will show you. I know I just kind of pointed out in the distance which were which, but I'm going to show you my display right now just so you get a little sense of where he's going to live and how he's going to look with his other mates. So this is where Hook will live on my shelf. It's just kind of on my shelf just a little bit above the other Peter Pan characters. I thought he should be separate from them because they are clearly not in Neverland. They're in Wendy's bedroom. And so I thought that Captain Hook should be in a different place, like not right alongside the other three. And so he's up here a little bit higher up and over from these guys, who is clearly not part of their display either. This is my Lupinus and my Rian Hart, who are named Asher and Remedy. And so he's going to hang out right here. I don't have a pirate ship, but I thought I'd put him beside the only thing I have. This is a sailboat that was on display somewhere else in my house, just a decoration that I have from many, many, many years ago. When I was doing my undergraduate, I bought that. So it's been around for a long time, and I'm happy to have a place to put it where it has real meaning and purpose. If I don't know if I'll ever like bother with getting some type of a pirate ship, or making something that looks like a pirate ship, or maybe getting a backdrop that looks like it's been a pirate, I don't know. Anyhow, it is what it is. I put a little alarm clock on there. That alarm clock used to be on Wendy's night table, but it wasn't the same scale as the other items on the night table, so I just moved it. And I think I'm more likely to at some point add a crocodile to this if I can ever find one of those rubber crocs. I think that that would be kind of cool to add to this part of the display. And then I'll just show you the rest of the display. So I have, here is the beautiful pull-up Peter Pan, who is full stock. I did get her used, but she's just lovely. There's some buttons and thimbles there. And then this is my Wendy. She is pull-up Merle, redressed in Nana Chan's dress, in her nightgown, and also Nana Chan's socks. And then I have up here on display, I have the grumpy little Tinkerbell, who is not very happy with Wendy right now. She is just so stunning, and she also looks very much her part, and she's just suspended from my ceiling there with a little hook and a string, and then her bun is also suspended just to keep her tilted at the right angle. And this whole thing has the backdrop from the Flight of Peter Pan from Disney. I just printed that up from the internet, and it looks like, you know, it might be the window out of Wendy's room. I didn't put a window frame around it to make it look all that much like a window, but maybe someday I will. This is kind of like, these displays are ever evolving for me. I don't think that they'll ever be completely finished, and part of what I love about having these displays, both the Alice display over there and the Peter Pan one here, is that it's sort of something that I can tinker at. So anyhow, that's Captain Hook. That's where he's going to live. I think he looks awesome. He may look different if I send him out for commission, for a commission face-up change, but other than that, he's going to live right here. So thanks so much for watching this video. Take care and have a really great week.